Hello, and welcome to our third webinar in the series of AI by Design. Today, today we're going to talk about how to get from standard BI reports to AI-powered decision in making. So we started this series already in January with the goal to have like 4 items to talk and build at the end agentic AI application. So in January, we found foundation for data, where we were talking how to make good data platform. Then a month later, we were talking about how to fill in data and integrate with other platforms and how to fill data with with our data platform with the data. Well, today in this webinar, we would like to benefit of the data we have and try to see can we get some intelligence out of it. Is this the same way as we were doing for the last many years with classical business intelligence reports, or we can do something more? So today we have 2 experts in data with me, Anna Maria and Daniel. So welcome to our webinar. So how are you?
Hello, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you very well. How are you guys?
Hello, everyone from Levi9's office in Iași, Romania.
Hello.
We're good?
We're good. Nervous.
Okay, good. Well, so how did you end up in the whole data space? I mean, BI. So what's happening there?
So I'm Anna. I'm a senior data scientist at Levi9. I have more than 10 years of experience. I worked both in academia and industry. I started my path with data during the PhD I did at the University of Luxembourg in optimization. And then I continued as a research and software developer, as a data analyst, and I've been a data scientist for the last 4 years. So it's been like a long road. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Daniel?
Hello, my name is Daniel Capitanu. I'm data architect in Levi9. For the last 18 years, I've been working with data solutions as BI developer, warehouse developer, data analyst, data engineer, and data architect. I worked for companies like ABB in Germany, Ubisoft in US, IBM, Oracle. And just this week, I entered my 9th year at Levi9, and I'm very proud of it. And going back to your question, Jan, I graduated university like 20 years ago with a paper called Business Intelligence. And although technology has evolved since then to the lakehouses, data mesh, and the cloud we have today, decisions are still here. My passion for decision support systems is still here, maybe enriched a bit with the passion for agriculture since I moved with my family recently outside this beautiful city of Iași. That's all from my side. I hope it will be an interesting session for everyone here, and I think we're ready to get started.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to hear actually what's happening, because everybody's talking about data. I mean, not that everybody were not talking about data, of course, with the whole big data hype we had a couple of years ago. But now with AI, I think everybody started talking again. So looking forward to hear your story. Well, before we go there, just maybe some logistic for our audience. So you can submit your questions in chat. So feel free to do that. And then we're going to have some time at the end of the talk to address your questions. So without further ado, Anna, Daniel, let's go. Let's hear this story.
Thank you, Jan. So the topic today, strategic data transformation from BI reports to AI-powered decision making. How are we going to tackle this subject? We will use the introduction to explain why do we see the topic as so important for modern day businesses, and also in this data and AI-centered webinar series. And that's why you will see has a lot to do with decisions and improving the decision-making process. Next, we'll briefly look at BI solutions and examine their relevance in today's fast-paced environment. From there, we'll explore the contributions of AI technologies to decision making. We'll dive into whether AI and BI are complementary and how they can work together to move the beyond traditional descriptive reporting to enable predictive, prescriptive, real-time insights. And in the final part of our session, we'll share some steps. Our experience has shown to be effective in leveraging this shift in decision making, and we'll also provide practical insights from our projects that we believe will be valuable for your organization's data transformation journey towards enhanced decision making. So let's dive right into the why. Decisions. That was an intentional break for you to have time to read this quote. I believe this quote is a great starting point because it highlights the attributes that decisions today must have to be effective. First, the need for decisions to be made quickly, reflecting the urgency of today's business environment. At the same time, these decisions must be scalable, meaning they should work across various levels of the organization without losing effectiveness. Then the importance of taking potential risks into account, ensuring we don't overlook possible negative outcomes. Consistency is an important aspect, as decisions should align with the organization's values and goals, creating stability even in a changing environment. And furthermore, decision must be adaptive, allowing to adjust as new information or circumstances arise. And lastly, decision must be personalized, taking into consideration the specific needs and contexts of different stakeholders involved. To further support this idea that decision-making is becoming increasingly complex, let me share a couple of findings. First, from a recent Gartner survey that found that 65% of decisions made are more complex than they were 2 years ago. And by complex, they mean they involve more stakeholders, more choices. So in short, from this report, decision-making is struggling to keep up with the fast-changing context. And in addition to that, a 2022 McKinsey report revealed that companies which combine AI with BI tools experience 25% improvement in operational efficiency. They also state in this report that AI doesn't replace BI, but it enhances it, turning the traditional report into forward-looking actionable intelligence. And we will get back to this idea in just a minute. But let's take just a minute or two to explore the role that traditional BI reporting is playing in decision-making, as well as its limitation in supporting the complex and dynamic decisions we face nowadays. And when it comes to traditional decision-making in BI, it's only natural to discuss the descriptive nature of BI reports. BI reports focus on what happened in the past, providing insights into historical data like sales performance, customer behavior, financial outcomes. And while it helps businesses make informed decisions based on past performance, it's inherently reactive rather than proactive. And BI indeed provides valuable context for understanding trends, but it doesn't usually forecast future outcomes and handle real-time changes, which we saw are critical in today's fast-paced business environment. And specifically on limitations, I would only add that Forrester, the market research company, highlights a key challenge, which my experience in Levi9 and before that can only confirm. That despite the rise of self-service BI tools, only around 20% of non-IT professionals can independently fulfill their BI needs. And this limitation persists for almost a decade now. So no matter what new user-friendly or intuitive features BI vendor introduced, we never got past this 20%. So the question remains, how can we support the other 80%? And maybe the answer is the title here, the shift towards AI-powered decision-making. This shift is a significant one, and it leads us to the way decisions are categorized in the modern-day world. I'm thinking about if we are to judge by the degree AI is involved in, I'm thinking on decision automation or decision augmentation. decision automation being where AI fully takes over the decision-making process, augmentation being where AI is recommending some scenarios to a human decision maker.
In this McKinsey annual survey of businesses, what we observe are the types of new business.
Anna, just a
sorry. Go back.
Yeah, thank you. Very briefly, and then we'll get back to Anna. So I wanted to get a little bit back to that idea that experts saying AI doesn't replace BI, but and it's my opinion as well. I think that by combining AI with BI tools, businesses will move from reactively understanding historical data to proactively managing what's likely to happen. And I have two very easy examples here. Number one, think of AI revolutionizing personalized customer experience in real time, enabling businesses to adjust content offers or pricing dynamically. And by integrating AI with BI, you can use real-time data like browsing behavior, location, transaction history to deliver tailored recommendations, offers, discounts that increase conversion rate and customer satisfaction. And in industries like e-commerce, travel, entertainment, AI can adjust pricing in real time based on factors such as demand, competitor pricing, customer segmentation, ensuring businesses remain competitive and maximize revenue. But I have a pretty good guess that we'll hear more about it in the next month session, which is about AI agents. And the second example, think about the supply chain. So last year, I worked with one of the world's largest fashion companies, and I learned that the material for the shirt I'm wearing went across multiple continents and factories, from the cotton field to the actual store I bought it from. We build BI dashboards to visualize, analyze the supply chain performance, but imagine the added value of AI here. So detecting anomalies, forecasting demand, optimizing inventory, improving logistic coordination, all in real time. So by analyzing alternative data like satellite images, geolocation, AI can identify bottlenecks, mitigate delivery risks. These capabilities help prevent disruptions and streamline the entire supply chain. And just a few words about the benefits of AI complementing BI. We could discuss, of course, real-time intelligence, which complements the BI usually scheduled reports. We can discuss the speed of the data processing, the ability to process unstructured data, etc. I would only want to challenge you to remember those promises made by the BI vendors in the last 20 years about getting the most out of your data. I would say that when used together, AI and BI come very close to deliver on that promise, because they combine what happened with what will happen and what should be done about it. And more about this shift towards AI-powered decision now from Anna.
Thank you, Daniel. Sorry about the earlier. So in this McKinsey annual survey of business, we observed the types of new businesses the organization expects to build over the next 5 years. This took place in 2023. The data is categorized by industries on the top row and the types of new businesses on the left-hand side. And when it comes to data analytics and AI platforms, technology, media, and telecom scores 55%, and financial services scores 47%, with a total of 40% of respondents that expect to create data analytics and AI businesses in the next 5 years. The key takeaways from this diagram is that the CEO's choice for growth to build new businesses, that investments in new businesses are the bearing fruit even during uncertain times, and nearly 2/3 of the investors said it would be advantageous for their organizations to create these new businesses over the next years. Okay, we talk about industry, we talk about types of problems that we could solve. So we have an example in this table of industries where we could use the power of enhanced BI with AI. like finance, healthcare, and so on. And what we have with Bold are some examples of problems that we solved in our Levi9 projects along the way. And what we observed is that for the last years, artificial intelligence has revolutionized decision-making processes across industries by leveraging structural tabular data to uncover patterns, predict outcomes, and optimize processes. Businesses and organizations rely on AI-driven models to make data-driven decisions, improve efficiencies, and reduce costs and risk. And from detecting fraudulent transactions in banking to supply chains in manufacturing optimization, AI-powered solutions are transforming the way the industries operate.
Right. So we're talking about the shift from reactive to proactive decision making, and now we want to explore some steps involved in strategically transforming data to support this evolution. And considering our recent data project, we compiled the list of steps you see on the screen, and I'm very briefly going to get through them. Number one, data quality and integration. This medallion architecture was presented in both of the previous webinars, so I encourage you to watch them on our website. Specifically, the second one, I think, goes pretty thoroughly throughout. I only want to add this. To take full advantage of AI, data integration becomes even more important than before. So unifying data from multiple sources like customer data, transactional data, sensor data from IoT, all this forms the foundation for both BI and AI tools. Another critical step in the strategical data transformation is investing in the right AI and analytics tools. So let's take a closer look at today's landscape. Anna?
Large language models assist us in understanding questions, generating explanations, and enhancing conversational responses for BI-powered tools. Machine learning algorithms help us analyze data patterns and suggest the most relevant insights, while certain techniques from natural language processing and generation convert this structured data into human-readable text. These tools that we see on the right-hand side are more intuitive now with being AI-powered and more accessible to non-technical users. It removes the need for complex data queries and manual report generation. You ask and the AI delivers. A few examples would be conversational data analysis, automated data storing, and so on. And what this means is that you ask questions in plain English that is transformed in a query on top of your data, and then you receive the report or the answers also in plain English. So it doesn't require that you need SQL or BI expertise. As we all know, not everything can be solved with large language models. We hear this Gen AI and LLM everywhere. But when it comes to financial data, we deal with structured data, mainly transactions and balance sheets, for which classical ML techniques are actually better. LLMs also don't perform well for numerical computations. And when it comes to financial data, we think we really need to have very high accuracy. In this case study, fraud detection, we can solve this problem in 3 different ways. For example, we could use supervised learning if we have labeled data of transactions that were fraud. We can use that information and detect when a new transaction comes in, if it's a fraud or not. Sometimes we might not have historical data, labeled data, so we could use unsupervised learning that allows us to create some groups, and then we can analyze those groups and detect what are the trends, what are the data insights. And both supervised and unsupervised learning work well with millions of transactions. They're well suited for large amount of data. However, when we think about fraud detection nowadays, we know it became more sophisticated, emails, impersonation, scams, texts. So we could use foundation LLMs to support us detect when there is a tentative of fraud. And it's worth mentioning that actually a project we're currently working on is using foundation LLMs to detect some areas in legal contracts that could be sensitive along the way. So you could also use foundation LLMs for that. And what do you think? What do we think when we say LLMs and foundation LLMs? Well, when we integrate AI-powered decision systems, we can do it by using the tools and frameworks like Amazon Bedrock, Microsoft Azure OpenAI to enhance data processing, predictive analytics, and automation. We can use them to custom applications that require, as we know, data, deep analysis of large data sets, complex trends, and reports. We also use these tools to build some conversational assistants. And as previously mentioned, LLMs can be very good at this conversational analysis, meaning you can actually talk with your data. And we have an example, it's just an example, there are plenty of them out there, of an AI agent, SQL agent, which is Vana AI. We actually used it and we were very satisfied with the results. Mainly you ask your questions in plain English. They are transformed in SQL queries. The agent runs the query on top of your data, and then it gives you back answers in plain English, meaning we are no longer blocked by the need to have SQL expertise, BI expertise, and things like that. We could do it in plain English.
Right. Next step in the strategic data transformation is building the right team. So let's briefly dive into why having the right talent is important for success. This is a series of best practices which we pay very much attention to in each of our data projects. Number one, ensure the team has a diverse mix of technical, analytical, and business skills. And why is it important? Data transformation involves more than just data scientists. So to succeed, we've seen it firsthand that you need a multidisciplinary team that can bridge the gap between the technical execution and the business strategy. Number two, encourage a culture of ongoing education and skills development. And indeed, data is a very fast evolving field. Technologies, methodologies, particularly around the AI and machine learning, change so rapidly these days. So it's essential to have a team that is constantly learning and adapting. Number three, cross-functional collaboration. Why is it important? Because data transformation is a complex process that requires coordination between departments. And for us as consultants, the bigger the size of the customer, the more visible it gets for us. So without this cross-functional collaboration, teams usually end up working in silos, which can make the flow of valuable insights very difficult and impact the successful application of AI-driven decisions. Number four, appoint strong data leaders who have a clear strategic vision for the data transformation. Because a clear strategy is essential to guide the team. And strong leadership ensures that everyone understands the importance of data transformations, stay focused on the end goals, and has a roadmap on how to get there. It was emphasized in the first webinar of the series by my colleagues Costa and Petar, the importance of data strategy. And I cannot stress it's important enough when it comes to BI and AI. It's something that we at Levi9 get very much involved in discussing with our customers because it's often the difference between failure and success. And number five, promote a culture that embraces data-driven decision-making at all levels of the organization. I thought about giving you an example from our portfolio, but realized it's something that in one way or another, we are doing it in all of our data projects. And it's so important because a successful data transformation isn't just about having the right technologies, right? The right technical tools. it's also about changing the mindset inside the organization. So cultivating a data-driven culture helps ensure that the team's work is leveraged throughout the company. And some means we've seen in action to achieve this, offering training programs to help employees at all levels understand how to interpret and use data in their daily tasks, rewarding employees in teams who use data effectively to drive results, or encouraging collaboration between departments by establishing some cross-functional teams that focus on specific data-driven use cases. I insist a bit more on this final step because it links very well with the last item on our list, the change management and the adoption. This involves guiding the organization through the transition to new data tools and processes, ensuring buy-in from all stakeholders, fostering a culture that embraces data-driven decision-making. Before diving into these best practices, again, I have to say that these originate from first-hand experiences with our customers. And in very short, number one, clearly articulate how AI will work alongside existing BI tools, enhancing capabilities rather than replacing them. This is important because one of the primary reasons AI adoption fails is resistance to change. So particularly when employees feel that AI will make their current skills obsolete. So by positioning AI as an enhancement to existing decision support systems, you can reduce fear and foster the acceptance. Number two, provide comprehensive training for teams to understand and use both BI tools and AI-driven insights together. I think this one kind of speaks for itself. Number three, have leadership communicate a clear, unified vision of data-driven decision-making, emphasizing how AI complements BI and supports broader business goals. And leadership involvement in advocating for AI and BI collaboration is, of course, it ensures that the transition is aligned with the company's strategic goals and that the employees feel supported. Right. Now that we've covered the importance of AI in enhancing traditional BI, let's look at how to practically implement these concepts. We'll also touch a bit on how to overcome common challenges along the way. I should maybe start by saying that these are steps which we took with most of our customers in their journey towards including AI in their decision-making processes. And things like having a strategy, bringing value, starting small, having tight feedback loops are actually in the DNA of Levi9's ways of working. So building a roadmap for data transformation. On short term, I think you can begin by enhancing your existing tools with AI capabilities. This can be as simple as integrating predictive insights into your current data reports, allowing this way to get a more forward-looking view of your business. However, there are also cases when starting with purely AI use cases can be a great option. For example, you can implement AI in areas like customer segmentation, predictive maintenance, without needing to rely on BI right away. This is the approach that helps you quickly experience AI's value before you fully integrate it into your existing systems. On the long term, of course, as your strategy matures, aim to make AI a core part of your decision-making process. The goal would be to have AI and BI working together in a unified systems where each one complements and strengthens the other. By start small and scale, we mean start with pilot projects. For example, you can use AI to generate real-time insights that flow into your existing BI dashboards. However, if you're starting with purely AI-driven use cases, these pilots could focus on AI-powered decision-making areas like customer support or sales forecasting, which don't immediately require BI tools. And once you see the value it brings, you can scale the solution to other parts of the business and integrate it into your decision-making process. For the continuous improvement, I will switch you back to Anna. Thank you.
Thank you. So as your AI tools continue to evolve, it's very important to integrate improvements back into your decision-making processes. This ensures that your insights stay relevant and continue to evolve with both your data and AI models over time. We promised you challenges and ways to overcome them. So let's start into looking into a few examples. When we think about data quality and integration, we think about data all over the place, data that is not necessarily consistent. And there are multiple ways. These are some challenges, and there are multiple ways to tackle this. For example, on all our data projects, we use ETL processes, and if you would like more information, you could refer to the second webinar Daniel already mentioned. You need to, well, you don't need, but what happened to us, for example, at some point in a project, we weren't necessarily aligned with the business and the business within itself. And then we spent time trying to gather some data that wasn't actually stored. So when it comes to integration, that part is also important. Once we were working on a size recommendation system, and different, because there were a lot of refunds, and the retail company wanted to reduce the amount of refunds and wanted to propose to the users the closest size in this fashion industry to their needs. And a different feature had to be mapped to, because the same name size was different for different brands, and we have to work on this to make the data consistent. So sometimes in AI, ML, you might need to integrate and build a new feature to create this kind of mappings. Model accuracy and explainability. When we hear about artificial intelligence, we hear about bias in your data. Bias in your data means your data is wrong, means that your model, what it learns, is wrong, and then you don't have accurate responses. Maybe model sounds fancy when we think about explainability, but to give you an example, the project I'm currently working on requires that the models are as transparent as possible, since certain financial decisions are taken based on it, and it's super important to make it as explainable as possible. When it comes to create AI generated explanations, just to give you an example, we were building at some point some clusters, so unsupervised learning, but not for fraud data this time, for conversations. So we were building, we were trying to extract the top topics that were exchanged between some customer agents and some end users. And then we grouped them, we create those clusters, and we didn't know how to define them. So we had to use some natural language processing techniques that allowed us to extract the most relevant words that describe those clusters and then make meaning out of it. So that was one technique related to model accuracy and explainability. Scalability and performance. When we think about AI and BI, usually we think about large data, millions of transactions, and things like that. In one of our projects, we use Horovod for PyTorch, where we use different nodes, so virtual machines that were running the code, to run computations in parallel, and calculations were brought together when finished running. You can also run, and we actually did that on a different project, the same code on different datasets in parallel with Databricks pipelines. Just another example of a scalability issue we had on another project. We were building those clusters of conversations, but the conversations were too long, and we had these restrictions, the context window, the amount of information we can give to the large language model. So we created a step before that where we summarize the conversations in order to create the embeddings that we could actually give to the models. Normally, we go for cloud-based AI platforms like SageMaker, AWS, like Google Vertex AI, that auto-scale also on demand. When we think about AI, we always consider security and compliance, like GDPR. There are some data privacy concerns, regulatory compliance. We have different approaches when it comes to that. We secure and encrypt the data at rest and in transit. We use role-based access controls, meaning we don't give the same type of access to all the users. We don't want someone with reading only access to remove and delete data. Anonymization. Just to give an example, when we were creating the clusters of conversations, we had to anonymize the data before using it. So we could have access to personal information like name, like addresses, like bank accounts. So we had some techniques for natural language processing. For example, would be NAR, named entity recognition, to detect what the data is sensitive and to remove it so we can actually use it to build our RAG solution. Another challenge we see when it comes to implementing AI-powered BI or just AI are the high implementation costs and measuring the AI's impact. So proving the return of on investment of AI can be difficult, especially in traditional businesses. So what we do, we start with small AI-powered BI use cases. This is an approach we have as a company regarding new emerging technologies. We also leverage cloud AI services, so we don't make a very big investment as a client in an infrastructure upfront. We also go for serverless computing like AWS Lambda and Google Cloud Functions. And another example is would be to be considerate of the amount of times we call an API. That was the supply chain example that Daniel mentioned. We were using Textract, so we were parsing information from scanned documents. And then at some point we realized we called too often Textract for every pieces of functionality we test. So we were caching intermediate objects that looked in a very funny way to actually continue building the solution. So that's another approach we had. So should I move forward?
Please. I think we're at the point when we can summarize the key takeaways from today's session. So, number one, AI complements, not replaces BI. It's important to remember that AI is not a replacement for BI. Instead, it's a powerful complement that enhances decision making by providing predictive, prescriptive, real-time insights. And by combining AI and BI, you can transition from simply understanding past performance to proactively forecasting future outcomes. Number two, building a cross-functional skilled team. This team should combine expertise from data science, data analytics, data engineering, business operations, and IT to ensure seamless integration and the full realization of AI's potential. And number three, strong leadership and change management. These are important factors for driving AI adoption and ensuring smooth integration with BI tools across the organization. This will help overcome resisting and foster a culture that embraces data-driven decision-making. And finally, we, both of us, encourage you to explore, invest in AI initiatives within your organization, whether enhancing your BI framework or driving new AI-driven solutions. The opportunities to improve the decision-making and future forecasting are huge. So take the next step and in embracing AI to unlock its full potential. Thank you from our side. I think we're ready, Jan. I'm not sure how we're standing with the time, if we are in time, but I think we can go to the questions part.
Yeah, well, thank you very much. First of all, sharing this story with us. Yes, indeed, we have a few questions which we got meanwhile. So let's start with the first one. So I think, well, clearly we see the rapid advancement of AI at the moment, and especially the Gen AI models and the whole automation. So how do you see AI transforming the data science landscape in the coming years?
Please.
So I think as large language models are not great at numerical computations, I think classical ML like supervised and supervised learning will still be used for tabular data. But I also see a shift in the needs of the customers. They go more and more for towards the need of conversational assistance and things like that, where Gen AI is actually very helpful, and also a higher need for automation. So AI is widely used in many fields. We see a shift in natural language processing with the large language models in computer vision, and more problems seem to be tackled with AI. But I think we have to go in this direction as a skill as well.
And do you see that like as a democratization now? Because access to those tools is maybe easier for people, because I think you said you can use just a natural language, plain English, to ask some questions. So you need to learn SQL or some other ways how to create a report. So how do you see that? So what are the skills of the future needed, or is this will be used a lot more than maybe we were using so far?
From my perspective, this is just my personal opinion. I see a shift in the ways the job roles look like. There used to be a very defined line between job types, to put it this way, let's say data, like engineers, analysis, science. But now I see more the need where they start to intersect, to put it this way, and there is a bit more of a mingle of skills. So we can't, for example, act like AI is not there, that it cannot help us. We cannot deny the access to information, that we can increase productivity. So we have to embrace it in our lives. And yes, maybe it will help democratize the.
Yeah, as we said at some point in the presentation, we really see this 80% of non-IT people having now the necessary tools to really put their knowledge to work.
Okay. And for the sake of time, maybe last question we have from the audience is like, which BI tool already adopted AI, and do you have any tips and recommendations for a tool to use? And also, maybe also the question related to tools, because you were mentioning high cost. Is actually implementing those BI tools with AI capabilities are increasing the costs?
Well, I think we saw on one of the slides that Anna presented about those pairs with Power BI with Copilot and Tableau with GPT, and same for Google. So it's clear that most important players in the BI world really have a stake in this AI, and they invest. And I've seen it I'm seeing it in our customers, that the need for this AI part. So they don't want to have some team build for them some measures, some complex models, when they can simply ask their or interrogate this model by asking what's the revenue for forecasted for the next month or something. So we also I'm thinking now of one of our customers that has a more of a niche player in BI, and even that has a powerful AI component. So I would answer that it's hard now to talk about BI without this AI complement.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you very much, guys, for sharing this your story. Thank you, all of you in the audience joining this webinar today. Well, this, as we said, was the third one. We see each other roughly in a month time, where we can talk about agentic AI, and we'll try to let's say combine everything what we were talking in the last 3 months about this. Well, all of you will receive an email with PowerPoints and the recording of this session. Well, all the best, and we'll see you in a month time. Thank you once more, guys. Bye bye.